Hello everyone, and welcome back. As of now, for the 100th episode, I will analyze none other than Bill Cipher, the main antagonist of Gravity Falls. This episode is another special episode to me because Bill Cipher is my favorite villain in all animation, as the amount of power, pure evil, intelligence, charisma, personality, and the symbolism of the character is absolutely genius and terrifying at the same time. And maybe I am bold with my statement, it's simply my belief that Bill Cipher is not only Disney's most diabolical villain, but also the greatest villain ever made in all animation itself, and my ultimate compliments to Alex Hirsch for both creating and voicing the character, as in this episode I will analyze all that we know about him throughout the series, the books, and the real life journal tree, Deep Gravity Falls, Deeper Mabel and the Curse of the Time Pirate's Treasure, and the Book of Bill, to understand Bill Cipher, and exactly how his journey from just another flash ship in the second dimension, to the Dream Demon to unleash an apocalypse. And now, let's start. The entity they all now came to know as Bill Cipher was born over 1 trillion years ago into the second dimension. All that we know about him is the fact that he was a single child of a triangle couple. His real name is not Bill Cipher, as his real name would evaporate one with an expression of horror and ecstasy on their face. As well as the fact that it's implied, however, that he might Bill and his could be kind of close to home, even the fact that he was nicknamed Billy back into his world. It's also implied that his world was named Euclidia, and his parents were skilled in an Euclid cipher. And of course, Bill himself claimed that he had a wonderful childhood. He was the most loved baby in the world, and he had Velcro shoes. But of course, that's likely a lie, because Bill admits that he was born with a mutation. He was born with his eye in the middle instead of one of his sides like the other shapes, thus causing him to be able to see the third dimension. And likely he was ostracized and considered a freak by the other two-dimensional beings, especially due to his claims that he is able to see stars while nobody else could. And so somehow Bill tried to show the stars to the second dimension, which results in eventually being destroyed, killing everyone who has ever lived out there, including his own family. And with this, Bill basically became responsible for what he came to be known as the Euclidean Massacre, as well as destroying everyone and everything, with himself being the last survivor of his race. And eventually, Bill will eventually somehow end up into the Nightmare Realm, aka Dimension Zero, an intergalactic wasteland between dimensions, a lawless, unstable crawl space that moves and shifts between realities, with him becoming the leader of an interdimensional gang of criminals known as the Henchmaniacs. And he will rule over the Nightmare Realm but be physically trapped inside it for 1 trillion years. And what's even worse is the fact that because of his lack of any constant physics or rules, the Nightmare Realm was fated to collapse on itself eventually. And so, eventually, 1 billion years ago, Bill found out about a prophecy that states that he will succeed to escape from the Nightmare Realm by merging it with the third dimension. And so, he came to make various deals with various three-dimensional beings, including us, humans, in order to accomplish this, and took the name of Bill Cipher to make his deals with mortals much easier. And for thousands of years, Bill has influenced humanity in various ways, as the ancient Egyptians, the Romans, the Aztecs, the Native Americans, the medieval Europeans, witches, the founding fathers during the American Revolution, even Stanley Kubrick during the moon landing. But of course, no matter how hard Bill tried, pawn after pawn, deal after deal, everyone and everything will grow horrified of his true agenda. And so, he officially, every deal will end up pretty much being a disaster. And a disaster that will ultimately help to shape humanity in its history. But Bill will not give up. And finally, by 1982, in the United States, specifically in the town of Gravity Falls, Oregon, Bill's life officially changed when he came in contact with a scientist known as Stanford Pines, who came to research about the town's anomalies. And of course, Bill recognized Ford's genius, but also his friendless nature, and so he proceeds to manipulate him by claiming that he himself is the muse to inspire one mind per century. And so, he officially both of them made a deal, in which Bill will officially give Ford blueprints to build an interdimensional portal, as he convinced him that the anomalies in Gravity Falls are to do a rift between dimensions, in exchange for Ford to let Bill into his mind. And the deal was made, and Ford recruited Fiddle for Magaket in order to help him. But of course, when the portal was completed and Fiddleford was sucked on the other side and saw Bill removing his exoskeleton to feed, he was traumatized and ultimately abandoned the project, which led to Ford confronting Bill and eventually finding out that his true omnicidal plan. thus leading to Ford to shut the portal down and hide in the journals, except for the first one, and calling Stanley to Gravity Falls, which led to a fight that led to Stanford being sucked to the portal between dimensions, while Stanley impersonated his brother back on Earth and created a mystery shack, while all the while he tried to bring back his brother. Meanwhile, Fiddleford was so traumatized by what he saw that he created a memory gun to erase every bad memory he experienced, and created a Society of the Blind Eye that will erase the town's false memories for the decades to come, and Bill Cipher is definitely indirectly responsible for all of this. And so, he eventually will wait and will officially keep an eye on Gravity Falls and all humanity in general. It also implied that he made a deal with Rick Sanchez from Rick and Morty at one point. And finally, by the summer of 2012, at 30 years of his deal with Stanford, Bill was called back in Gravity Falls by Little Gideon, who wanted to find the code to Mystery Shack safe inside Stanley's mind. Bill agreed with the deal in exchange for Gideon to help him with the Wirmageddon. And so inside Stanley's mind, he met Dipper, Mabel, and Seuss for the first time. And while he initially tricked them so they can take him to the code, they outsmarted him and managed to sabotage his plans, resulting in his deal with Gideon falling apart and him trying to destroy them and Stanley's mind, only for them thankfully to outsmart him once again and manage to officially save Stan and save their own lives in the process. And Bill left them off the hook for now. And later on, after Dipper and his friends discover Magaki's laptop into the bunker and try to find his password, Bill will show up to him, offering him a deal in which he can give him the password to Magaki's laptop in exchange for a puppet. Of course, Dipper refused at first, but finally desperation got the better of him and he accepted the deal with Bill, only for Bill to possess Dipper, destroy the laptop, and impersonated him at Mabel's puppet show and try to destroy the journal tree. It's even revealed that had he succeeded, he would have thrown Dipper's body off the water tower so you make it look like the boy committed the unthinkable, and it's likely he would have tried to do the same with Mabel. But thankfully for everyone, none of it came true, and Mabel managed to save Dipper before it was too late. And now, upon the return of the real Stanford Pines, thanks to Stanley reactivating the portal due to all the three journals, he officially managed to hound Stanford and taunt him about the Wirmageddon, as there is a rift between the Earth and the Nightmare Realm that is kept contained and waiting for it to crack. And so, after the mystery shack got secure, he officially proceeded to possess Blending and tricked Mabel into giving him the rift and finally smash it to the ground and finally open the portal to the Nightmare Realm, allowing Bill to unleash the Wirmageddon upon Gravity Falls. And thus, after 1 trillion years, Bill is once again finally free. And now unleashing the Wirmageddon upon Gravity Falls, turning all the people into stones, and releasing his H-Maniacs and all the other monsters from the Nightmare Realm, and trapped all the stone people into a throne, as well as killing the Time Baby and the Time Officers, turned Ford into a golden statue, destroyed the journals, and tried to have his henchmen to eat Dipper alive, as well as trapping Mabel into a prison bubble. But of course, when Bill tried to move on from past Gravity Falls, that too will turn out to be difficult, as he eventually discovered that Gravity Falls itself is surrounded by a barrier that blocks all the witness from getting out, thus prompting Bill to attempt a deal with Stanford that will eventually go nowhere. In tandem with Dipper, Mabel and their friends coming to save Stanford and stop Bill once and for all. And now, before we continue, we'll stop and ask ourselves, is Bill evil? Because of the fact that while it's undeniable that he's an absolute monster, there are a few things that we should analyze. And the first of all is the fact that it's heavily implied that Bill does have suffers from immense guilt over destroying his dimension, given the fact that he himself doesn't like to admit it. When he explains it to Stanford in Wigmageddon 3, he appears angry and frustrated, as well as the fact that Axolotl himself claims in his poem that Bill pretends to be happy and he misses his home dimension and might be depressed, as well as the Book of Bill reveals that he is still haunted by the ghost of his family. However, Bill is nowhere of an actual innocent person, as he doesn't care at all about anyone but himself, and not to mention that while he does suffer guilt, he mostly shrugs it off and hides it behind the facade that he shows throughout the series, as well as the fact that Bill Cipher, while he doesn't want to rule our world or to become the almighty being of our reality, he only wants to have fun. However, his concept of fun will mean the death of everyone and everything we know, as Bill has absolutely no regard towards any life, neither human or any other life form outside of himself in general. And given the fact that what he showed to Ford, he is definitely capable to destroy the Earth into a second, as he managed to escape from the barrier, not and thus further proving that Bill Cipher is nothing more but a pure evil monster with very little redeeming qualities. And at the end, the answer is ultimately yes. Bill is evil, and at the very end, he was tricked by both Stanford and Stanley as they switched clothes, and Bill was lured inside Stanley's mind, as Stanford used the memory gun to erase Bill, and Stanley punched him to bits inside his own head, ending his threat once and for all, and thus reversing the Witmageddon, and Gravity Falls got restored back to how it was prior, and with Bill's putrefied body being the only thing left in the woods. However, even that will not be the end for Bill Cipher, as in his final moments before being punched by Stanley, he recited an incantation. "Ea Axolotl, my time has come to burn. I invoke the ancient power that I may return." Thus in further implying that Bill has invoked the Axolotl in his last moments, and it's revealed in Gravity Falls, Deeper Mabel and the Curse of the Time Pirate's Treasure, that when the twins encountered the Axolotl, the supreme deity of the Gravity Falls multiverse, in the time and space between time and space, Deeper asked the Axolotl what does he know about Bill Cipher, which he responds to a poem, 60 degrees that come in trees, watches from within birch trees, saw his own dimension burn, misses home and can return, says he's happy, he's a liar, he blames the arson for the fire. If he wants to share the blame, he will have to invoke my name. One way to absolve his crime, a different form, a different time. Thus implying that Bill Cipher invoked the Axolotl in his last moments to gain to be absolved of his crimes, and the only way to do so is he has to take a different form in a different time, and this gave way to a wave of conspiracy theories about what it will mean. And finally, the Book of Bill revealed to us the truth. The Bill did successfully invoke the axolotl, but he is now trapped into the Terra prison, a literal prison full of therapy outside of time, where Bill needs to take therapy and make amends for his mistakes before he could reincarnate. Needs to know if then any of that will happen, but it's like the Bill now has his fate sealed. So in the end, who was, or better yet, who is Bill Cipher? He is nothing more but a diabolical monster who only wanted only power and glory in his own name. A monster that will do anything and sacrifice anybody to achieve his own personal goals. A monster that is haunted by his own guilt and tries to shrug it off behind the facade of happiness. And finally, Bill could best be called as one of the greatest and the most iconic villain ever made in animation. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give a like and subscribe, and have a nice day.
Remember, reality is an illusion, the universe is a hologram. Bye, gold. Bye!